Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is a tips and tricks video for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where I'm going to be showing you how to get infinite arrows, or at least for a specific set of circumstances anyway. The idea of this video is to help you with your raids, so I've found that I've been trying to destroy the enemy encampments and loot these raid areas for maximum resources to then improve my base, but in doing so I've often come across some that are a lot higher level than I am, resulting in a lot of enemies with red skulls that then usually end up killing me off. Arrows are really useful for this because you can shoot them in their weak spots and then finish them off with a stun kill. However, you quickly run out of arrows, which is a problem. Now, to demonstrate this, I'm going to show you that currently I am roughly a level 121 in terms of power, so not that far into the game, but there are still camps which are dangerous. This area, for example, is 340 is the suggested power that you should go and take that on. If you go in there and raid in the normal way, you will end up dying, or at least I do. And what I found is that if you stay in your boat and don't actually press E to go into raid, so don't try and raid the area, just stay in your craft and use your bow and arrow. So I'm using a predator bow here, you can see you can shoot the enemies at range, and what you will notice if you're paying attention is that I'm not actually using any of my arrows doing this. So when you're in your craft and you're in command of it, you can fire arrows and still move the boat around. So moving the boat backwards and forwards and shooting means you stay mostly out of danger, and you can see that I'm firing off arrows here and it says I've got 12 arrows and that doesn't go down at all, so I've basically got infinite arrows as long as I stay in the boat, and therefore I can pick off enemies from a distance just shooting arrows at them and killing them off before I go in to then try and loot the gear. And this is really handy, although it is still possible to die if you're not careful, so moving around, keeping that boat moving is a good tip, but also staying at a distance where they can't easily see and shoot you is another one, so it's worth watching out for that. And once you've cleared out the majority of the enemies, it's then a good idea to go in and start fighting them a bit closer. One of the things that I found is that you can also shoot the surrounding areas, and that will attract them to the edges of the base, and then you can shoot them from the boat. The other thing that I found with doing this technique is that I haven't started the raid, so everyone else hasn't followed me in, but if I get to a point where I'm losing the battle with the few enemies that are left and I'm quite badly injured and in trouble and I've run low on rations, then I can still exit. So you can run away from the battle, so the tip here is to essentially run away and hide, run back to your boat, and then hopefully the enemies will then follow you out to a point where you can shoot them again. The other advantage of doing this is because I've strayed so far from the inner circle of that base, the area where you would normally be raiding, and I'm not in the raiding mode because you can see you still have the option to go in and raid, I can now save. So you'll notice in the bottom right corner it's just saved automatically, and you can also quick save and manually save in this area. So now I'm at a point where I've killed off a lot of the enemies with arrows. I've gone in and I've killed off some by hand with my actual weapons, but I've avoided most of the danger, and this is great considering how much higher this area is versus my actual power level, so I'm not going to die constantly, because there's nothing more than frustrating than getting halfway through one of these raid areas and then dying and having to do it all over again because you couldn't save in the middle of it. So these sort of tips of picking enemies off from a distance, going in, picking off some more, going back out, saving, going back in again, are very useful. Now you can use that combination of things as well, is if you are raiding, so you can see at this stage I've then gone into raid. Once you've started doing the raid, you can then loot some stuff and then go back out to your boat and save again, and then come back again. So you can actually, if you go back to your boat and then come back, you can sort of save these points. So if there is a danger of you being killed still, as in there's a lot of high level enemies still in the area that you couldn't pick off, then you can still save. It is possible to do, and I would recommend it because there's nothing more frustrating than having to start again from the beginning of it, even if you are firing arrows. Now obviously this infinite supply of arrows only works when you're on the boat. You won't carry those arrows around with you, but what it does mean is that you're not using up any of the arrows that you have. So if you've got a good quiver with quite a few arrows in it anyway, when you're shooting enemies from the boat you're not using them up, so when you get into land you can then use them. Use your arrows, aim for the weak spots, those feet, the elbows, the hands, the ones that glow, shoot those. You can then do the stun attack and finish them off easily. Use this tip to go around the map and just attack all the raiding spots that you can and get the maximum amount of resources to improve your base and improve your game. This has been The Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. This has been The Provoked Prawn. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Hope you found it useful, interesting, hilarious, or all of the above. Be sure to check out the description for other information you might find interesting, and subscribe and watch these other videos as well that I think might be useful to you, and have a great life.